welcome back to Jen Beauty. My name is Jennifer, and here on my channel I like to talk about all things beauty and makeup. Today I have my palette ranking for the month of June. And if you can't tell, I am filming this on the 4th of July. So we're feeling a little patriotic, but also a little melted with our makeup. It's fine. I have a lot of palettes to get through, but first I wanted to give kind of an honorable mention to eyeshadow products that I tried out. So I used the Stila, both the Shimmer and Glow liquid eyeshadow and just all the Shimmer and Glow liquid eyeshadow. And they're fine. They didn't really crease on me, but I feel like these colors kind of wash me out a little bit, and I'm not super loving them. Like I'm not able to do like that no makeup look. I look like I'm sick, kind of. It's probably me and the application. And I felt the same way about the REM Beauty metallic gel eyeshadow in the shade Affirmation. It was very pretty, but I just don't know that these are like for me. And then the ColourPop Jelly Matte Shadow in the shade Protocol from the Star Wars collection. I did really like this one. I felt like even if I used it underneath like shimmer shadow, it kind of like upped it and took it to like the next level. So I need to keep trying out different shades, I think, and maybe figure out how I want to wear each one, but that's where I stand on those. And then in the very last spot, I think I have 20. Let's double check that. All right, so I have 19 palettes that I tried in the month of June. And I did my eyeshadow over 20 times. I know that, sorry, I have like a hair in front of my eye that I keep trying to move out of the way. I know for a couple of days I was not feeling well, and part of it was my rheumatoid arthritis flaring up, and part of it was just depression. So I had at least like a 5 or 6 day period in there that I didn't do my makeup at all. But I did play around with some of these. Like I put one on to see if I liked it. So that's how I ended up with more of like eyeshadow products. Anyways, and the number 19 spot is the Wander Beauty Wondrous Rush eyeshadow palette. This is what it looks like. I don't know that it's about the performance so much as this was like the color story was not it for me. The shimmers are just kind of meh. It is a little bit older of a palette, so I'm trying not to grade the mattes on their performance. I didn't like it. It's definitely in makeup purgatory where I will more than likely declutter it. Then I really wanted to like this one, but I have the Colored Rain Vineyard Soiree eyeshadow palette. And for this one, I just felt like the quality of this was not what I wanted it to be. I don't know if they've improved their formula since this palette. This was, I think, in BoxyCharm. So I really wanted to like this. I'm trying not to judge the brand as a whole on this one small palette, because I know a lot of people do like Colored Rain, but for me, this was not it. I did not enjoy it. Then I have the Cara Beauty Bloom Into You palette, and it's a pull-apart palette. Okay, so these get into the palettes that like I enjoyed, but I wouldn't put at the top of my list. So I really liked the look that I did with this palette, but I feel like the brand as a whole, the palettes that I've tried from Cara Beauty, I feel like the shadows don't look on the eyes like they do in the pan. So I'll take, for example, this deepest purple. And this is a swatch where I went back and forth a couple times. However, they are buildable. There's not a whole lot of color payoff the first time that you use them, and you have to really work to build them up. And then the shimmers, I feel like they look like they're gonna be amazing in the pan, but then when you swatch it out, they're really pretty, but they're more of like a wash of a color. And so I do feel like, you know, it has a place in my collection, but I don't think it's a palette that I would be like not able to put down. So this is one that I liked and I enjoyed the look that I made with it, but meh. Then I have the Nomad Iceland Fire and Ice palette. I tried so hard to like this palette, and I think that it's a good formula, but I think that the color story just isn't something that speaks to me. And when the color story doesn't speak to me, I feel like I have a much more difficult time making looks out of a palette. So there's nothing really wrong with it. I just don't know that that's something for me in particular. I want to keep playing around with it, but if I do play around with it again, unless I just absolutely love it, I don't think I'll put it in another monthly palette ranking, because I feel like it's not fair to the palette to be so low down month after month when it's me that's the problem. And then I have the Cara Beauty Pro 19 Berry Good. This is one of their pro palettes. I did think this was good, but and I like the look that I made with it, but again, it's the same as the other palette where like you kind of expect a shade to be like really deep and rich, and then it doesn't really have the same color payoff. So it's one I do think I will reach for again, but since it was like one of my first times playing around with the palette, I struggled a little bit because the look I thought I was going to make out of it didn't turn out that way, since the shadows didn't quite perform like I thought they would. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I have the ColourPop So Fly palette, and this one is a really beautiful color story and I really enjoyed it. But at this point, like, I just kind of have to figure out where to rank things, and part of what I base it on is how did I like the looks that I made out of it, how versatile do I think the palette is, and so that's why this one ranks here. And then the next one is the ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. Again, this is like, it's a great staple palette in my opinion. You know, like, there's nothing inherently bad about it, but there's nothing about the palette that just like knocked me off my feet. I think for the price, it's a good value. It's definitely one that I would recommend if someone was asking what ColourPop neutral palettes to consider. This is one that I would throw in the hat. Then I have my Anastasia Riviera palette, and I really like the look that I made with this, but I did struggle a bit with this purple shade feeling too dry. I think it's my eyeshadow primer, because I struggled with that on more than just this palette. But I did find that like more creamy matte formulas, I didn't have that same issue as much with the primer. So I do think it is time for me to let that primer go, or at least put it in purgatory until I work out my issues. But I do really like the color story of this palette, and I do think that I will continue to reach for it. And then Next, I have the Nomad America's Parks palette. Again, I think this is a great formula, but the color story maybe doesn't speak to me as much, at least right now when I'm looking for like vibrant and bright. In person, I didn't like the look that I made with this very much, but when I got on camera for work, I was like, dang, I look good today. So I'm not really sure where the disconnect was with that. I think that the look I was intending to make didn't quite translate. So it's definitely one that I think I need to play with a little bit more. I do really like the shimmers in this palette. Sometimes these like tie-dye stripy shimmers throw me off a little bit because you think this is going to be white, but then it turns more like a silver color. So I do try to like swipe these before I put them on my eyes, but sometimes when I'm looking for inspiration, it does throw me a little bit. And then to round out the bottom and middle half, I have the Man-Eater Tarte palette. This one doesn't have a specific name other than Man-Eater. And I like Tarte's, I like their matte formula. I don't love their shimmers as much, although I will say like their shimmer formula is definitely more like understated. So like it's more of like a satin shimmer, and I do think it's very pretty. I like this very much for just like an everyday throw it on in 5 minutes, gotta run to a meeting type look. Also, it smells intoxicating. Like it smells so good. Like that chocolate vanilla scent. I know that a lot of people don't like Tarte's eyeshadow formula, and I will say when this starts to get old, it dries out very quickly, and then the mattes are extremely dry, patchy, and difficult to blend. So there definitely is a shelf life even if you continue to get pigment. You just have to understand that it's just going to be a little bit more difficult to work with. So let me grab the next stack of palettes and we'll round out the top, I think 10 that we're up to now. I'm putting the numbers at the bottom of the screen because I forgot to mark them and I need to hurry up and film before fireworks start because my neighbors, like, they throw down. Okay, I was close. So this is the top 9 palettes that I tried in the month of June. So first we have BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles, or I guess at number 9. Yeah. So I have the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. I really like the formula of this palette. The shades in here that I used for the look that I was making of like my own idea, my own choosing, if you will. I really did like that look. I think I used these 2 and this one plus the shimmer, I think. I struggled with this white being a little kind of chalky and powdery when I was kind of swatching everything out. And it doesn't quite have every pastel shade that I would want in a pastel palette, but it's a good like staple pastel palette. Number 8, again, I feel like I had to put these palettes in some semblance of an order because it's a ranking video, but like in the top at least 5 or 6, that was rude. My alarm clock went off to remind me to take my medication. Now I have ignored it and I will probably forget to take it until like 11 or 12 like I did last night. Anyways. I really enjoyed the top like 5 or 6 palettes in this ranking, and I know that they will be ones that I love again and again and again. So next I have my ColourPop Malibu Barbie palette. I have loved the looks that I have made with this palette. I really like the vibrant like sunset colors that remind me of like a sunset on the beach. And then the shimmers in this palette I absolutely love too. Like this is definitely a good ColourPop formula. And I like the color story, and also it's Barbie and hello childhood. Next I have the Beach Cosmetics 80s Remix Dance palette. I really loved the look that I made with this. I love the Beach Cosmetics formula. I don't really have much else to say other than that, other than I am so thankful that I was able to get my hands on this. Well, that my husband was able to get it for me. Then we have the Natasha Denona Jubilee palette. So I have the Natasha Denona Ayana. I think it's Ayana. I think. Anyways, I have the like neutral palette that was made exclusive for BoxyCharm, and my face just eats those eyeshadows. These are both made in Italy, so I don't know what the difference in formulation is, but I used this one and I thought my look was gorgeous. I was wearing this, I believe, when I filmed my Snow White and the Seven Pans video, which I'll try to link in the cards if I remember. If I point a lot, I'll remember it when I'm editing. So by the end of the day, I checked and like my eyeshadow still looked almost like it did whenever I applied it. This Pinky Peach shade did throw me off a little bit whenever I was doing my look, but I really like these three shades together. I thought they blended so beautifully together, and this yellow is like something else, y'all. Like just so pretty, and the camera is not going to even begin to capture how pretty these shadows are. I definitely feel like these were so much prettier in person on my eyes than what I expected them to be and what I felt like I was able to capture. And if I think about it, I'll put in looks that I made as we go, but the ones that I took pictures of. So I have the Kaleidos Cold Brew palette from their Smoky Nostalgia collection. I am in love with the Kaleidos formula. So thankful. Like I normally would not have gone for a quad. I definitely did not buy this for myself, but I am so thankful that my husband did. Like this is the shimmer from that palette. I'm so thankful that my husband took a chance and just picked something out on his own from a brand he knew I wanted to try, because this quad is amazing and I love it. Now we're into the top 4, and boy, this was really difficult for me to pick a favorite. So at number 4, I have the Odin's Eye Soulmane 2 eyeshadow palette, and I know I'm saying it incorrectly. I am not Swedish, and I know I'm butchering it, and I'm really sorry, but I won't make fun of you if English is not your first language and you're saying things wrong. I promise. So if you watched my Get Ready With Me where I tried out this palette, I did not love the first eye look that I made with this, but I really enjoyed the second one that I did. And beautiful formula. I'm definitely an Odin's Eye fan. If the rest of their eyeshadows perform like that, absolutely loved it. Number 3 is the Melt Cosmetics She's in Parties palette. Purples are my favorite, but like, oh my gosh, these mauve tones are absolutely gorgeous. I love the looks that I did with this, and I'm so happy that I picked this up on a whim. They were having a sale and I got the Gemini and Gemini 2 in a bundle, plus there was like 25% off on top of that. And on a whim, I threw in the She's and Parties palette, and I am so thankful that I finally bit the bullet and got that for myself. And then I have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Primrose palette. So this was a birthday gift. And when I first saw it, I didn't think I was gonna super love it. I'll be honest, I was like, it's pretty, but it's not necessarily like one that I would have picked out for myself. This shade Peony, and yes, I know in my declutter I kept calling it Peony because holy crap, I was tired. It is so pretty. It's like a pink yellow flip. It is gorgeous. And I do think that this probably would have gotten a bit more hype and love if it didn't have these two cheek shades in it. I definitely feel like they could have split it and left these two in as an eyeshadow shade, but then threw in like two other like staple colors to this palette. However, that being said, I absolutely do love this palette. I love the packaging. Definitely one that I'll be reaching into. And then I have the Kaleidos Futurism 6 in Lunar Lavender as my top palette that I tried for the month. Is anyone shocked or surprised that a purple palette has made it into the top? Are we? I don't blame you. So this color I have eyed from like the very first time I saw this palette, and I definitely fell in love with this as soon as I put the shimmers on my face. Again, the camera is not even going to come close to doing this thing justice. I absolutely love this formula. I love the looks I can make with this. Yes, it is a little bit monochromatic because it's only a 6-pan palette, but I don't mind that. I love any purple look. And I like that I can do purple looks with this again and again, and I can do a couple different types. This is one thing I wish that they would fix though, and that is to have the shades actually printed on the palette. So, whew, I almost lost the whole entire stack. Thank you for joining me for ranking the 19 palettes that I used in June. I know that was a lot of palettes to get through. I hope that you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more makeup and beauty content from me, hit that subscribe button and I'll have more coming at you. I hope wherever you are, you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye.